everybody.
Hi there.
I'm Christine.
I'm Jamie.
And we are here for
Book club.
our second book club pick.
Yeah.
Which is
Blood Over Brighthaven by Wang.
We're here to talk about it.
Yeah, which really was complete opposite from the last book club.
What do you mean? Oh, just like the
Just the book.
What's it like? Yeah. No, there's a lot to unpack.
This is very serious.
It's very serious, and you know what? That was one of the things that I wanted to bring up today. Was I was a little bit scared with this book coverage because there's so many really serious themes in this book that I was like, oh my god, I'm doing my notes to prep to talk about this with you, and I am so bored to death with myself.
Yes.
And my opinions that I'm like, oh my god, are we going to be so boring talking about this? So I'm like trying to be mindful of like not going on rants.
Yeah, I tried to like
go on rants,
throw in like fun parts because there were like some fun little quips and stuff.
Yeah, let's highlight the fun stuff.
There's light moments. They're rare, but I would still say
it gets dark.
Yeah, but I also love it.
It's like it's themes that I want to talk about, but it's also like, okay, guys, we're here for entertainment.
Yes.
Okay, but firstly, the drink.
Yes. It was so fun.
I am blown away by how cool it turned out.
Yes. So I originally was going to do like a tea drink because she's all about the tea.
She's a tea girl.
Yeah, but we just did one. Well, you just did one.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to do that. And then one part, I literally, when I was going over my notes, she says, oh, I'm going to find it. Oh, when she finds out everything, she says to herself she was going to show them hellfire. And in my notes, when I read that, I was like, cocktail with a question mark?
Fire? Cocktail? Maybe.
So I found, it's a raspberry thyme daiquiri. But so it's like the blood red color. But we got to light the drink on fire as well. It was our first fire drink. And as the instructions say, make sure you put the fire out before you have the drink.
Yeah, put the fire out.
Yeah, it's very important.
Also, but if check out the pictures because
yeah, it was super cool.
Obviously we know by now Jamie is a professional photographer, but these pictures, because we always try to improve like everything that we're doing, right?
Yeah.
And this one just felt like it was a step up for sure. And they look so cool.
Yes. But
and cinnamon causes sparks.
Yes, fun fact, if you are lighting a drink on fire, if you throw some cinnamon on it, sparks will fly.
Yeah.
Also learned that Sambuca you can light on fire. It has to be a certain proof alcohol, but
we didn't burn the house down.
No, which was a plus.
But we were also very scared for.
Yeah. Christine had a champagne glass of water.
Just in case.
Yeah, with a plate ready to smother as well.
Yeah.
And the drink was good. So it was a raspberry thyme syrup with fresh lemons and rum. And yeah, it was good. I feel like could be some improvements, like we talked about.
The only thing is, I don't think that I'm the best judge right now. My nose is a little bit plugged. Every single ingredient that you just named are my favorite ingredients.
Oh.
Right? I love raspberries.
Same.
I love thyme.
Yeah.
I love white rum.
Mm-hmm.
I love lemon. But even when you're like, like I tried to smell the thyme. Like, is there enough thyme? You asked.
Yeah.
And I can't smell as good as I should. So I'm not a great judge, but all of those ingredients sound wonderful.
Right,
It tasted great, but I'm also like, I would like to taste it when I am not stuffed up.
Yeah. Well, I do think there could be more thyme in the syrup. Maybe I'll make it again.
Time for Tommel.
Like time Tommel.
Yeah.
And if it was poured over like just a bunch of ice and really cold,
ice would be nice.
So good. What do you rate it, even though you couldn't really taste it?
For its potential, I would give it an 8.
Oh, I was going to give it a 6.8.
I will downgrade it if I try it again.
And nothing changes.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll try it again next time.
Yeah, it's for potential.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Perfect.
Okay. It's also your birthday coming up.
Yes.
And I got you a present.
Oh! It wasn't the box that was randomly delivered to my house?
No, that was our brother who randomly sent a box with a book in it. And didn't put any name on it.
No, just...
And then you texted me and was like, Did you send a book to my house?
I was so confused.
Did you forget your address?
Yeah. I was like, is this like a book?
And then I had to tell you, no, our brother probably sent that book.
Yeah. Which he did respond to.
The only reason I knew that is because he was like, what books, what does Jamie want?
Yeah.
And so I told him.
Which it was, oh my god, Red Queen, right?
It was the Red Queen.
Yeah, and I'm really excited because then I looked at it because it was on my TBR, obviously, and I was like, oh, I'm excited for this. I forgot about this one.
I know, it's like it's not new and in the conversation, but it's, I want to read it too.
Yeah, well now you can.
Okay, I got your present too.
Oh, where? Oh, how did you do this and I didn't notice?
I put it down my pants. I hid it.
Oh my god. What's happening?
Sorry, I didn't want to break it, so I kept it in the cardboard.
Oh, two of my faves. Okay, first sticker is my house, my chair, my woman, which is the best. Oh, that's so cute. It's Taryn and Darna. That's such a cute little... Oh, I'm showing you. You haven't seen it, but...
Yeah, so it's the same artist that made my Violet Sorrengill sweater.
Yes.
With the knife.
Is it
and the violet flowers.
Yes, which I loved. And I remember when we first started talking about the books and everything, and you told me about this creator, I guess. And then we were talking about her art.
She also made the inserts for the Goldfinch books. So some of the like cage stuff and just some of the like extra stuff within those books.
Oh my god, it can go on my gallery wall that I'm making above my chair. And it's CM Designs, right? No, Carmen Design. Carmen DM Design.
Carmen DM Designs.
Thank you. Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh, it's Oren.
It's Oren from the Plated Prisoner series.
Yeah. Oh, it's so pretty.
By Raven Kennedy.
Oh, I love it.
Happy birthday!
Thank you. I'm 20, guys. 20.
I'm
20
years old.
Yeah.
20 years young.
Oh,
Just
yay.
kidding.
No, not at all. I would never want to be 20 again.
No, that sounds awful.
Oh my god, the worst.
No, let's not do that.
No. Also just like redoing my notes and like going over like probably the first little portion of the book and like my comments and stuff, and I'm like cringing almost
because you're like, you don't know what's going to happen,
what's coming, and I'm just like,
I feel the same. Yeah,
it's like, ooh.
Let's just do the book description first.
Yes. Okay.
An orphan since age of 4, Sciona has always had more to prove than her fellow students. For 20 years, she devoted every waking moment to the study of magic, fueled by a mad desire to achieve the impossible, to be the first woman ever admitted to the High Magistracy. When she finally claws her way up the ranks to become a High Mage, however, she finds that her challenges have just begun. Her new colleagues will stop at nothing to let her know she is unwelcome, beginning with giving her a janitor instead of a qualified lab assistant.
What neither Sciona nor her peers realize is that her tech-turned-assistant was once more than a janitor. Before he mopped floors for the mages, Tomil was a nomadic hunter from beyond Tyrion's magical barrier. 10 years have passed since he survived the perilous crossing that killed his family. But working for a high mage, He seized the opportunity to finally understand the forces that decimated his tribe. The forces that decimated his tribe drove him from his homeland and kept the Tyranish in power.
Through their fractious relationship, mage and outsider uncover an ancient secret that could change the course of magic forever. If it doesn't get them killed first. Sciona has defined her life by the pursuit of truth, but how much is one truth worth with the fate of civilization in the balance?
That was a really tough read.
It was. There's a lot of big words.
Oh, anyways.
Okay. This was a book club book, which means it's a little bit different than what we're used to reading, or not reading. It's a little bit different than what we're used to talking about.
Yes.
Usually we read books and then we're like, oh, we love this, and then we talk about it with, like the Plated Prisoner series, or we're talking now about One Dark Window. It's like
we know what we're getting into.
Yes. But this, we obviously, like, neither of us had read it, so now we're talking about it, not knowing if either of us liked it. And then we get to just, let's talk about it. I don't know.
I would just like to say Raven Kennedy has one of the best openings with the orgy scene.
Yeah.
This is probably the worst book opening because it's so depressing.
What?
Like, it's good. It's so good. But I'm also just like, what an awful, like, opening. It's so depressing.
Okay, yeah. Well, there's a difference between bad opening and,
it's not actually bad.
Sad opening.
It's a sad, it really sets the tone.
Can we talk about, like, just the writing and the vibes first?
Yes.
And, like, the experience of it? Just, like, more general, I guess?
No.
No. Okay. Okay. I mean, it's your birthday soon, so I guess.
It's pretty much my birthday week right now, so I think we're not even going to talk about the book.
I did really like the world that she created. Right?
Same. And the magic was so complicated.
It was. I was like, what is she talking about?
I had to look at the diagram. You didn't have the actual book, but...
No, but I still had the visual, but, like, you start the book and you get the visual and you're like, I don't know what that means.
No. That means nothing to me right now.
But I think even reading the book and going back to that, I'm still like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, but
And also, I don't want to take the time to, like, invest so much that I'm starting to figure out what you're talking. Like, I don't want to do that. It's too complicated.
I enjoyed it.
And that. Like, it's too complicated and it's super cool.
It's just...
And it's very unique.
Yes. And it's just cool for authors seeing, like, the ideas they come up with for magic and, like, the different ways. So I did enjoy this world and the magic, and I mean, it was awful, but it was also, I enjoyed it at the same time. Yeah. Everything in this was awful, but I enjoyed it.
Her descriptors, like, even, and I feel like that first section with Tommel and the Quen and seeing the city, and then obviously as things evolve, like, I do feel like her descriptions were well done.
Yes, you could easily build everything in your mind.
I could visualize really well with her descriptors.
Yeah.
Which isn't always the case.
No.
I'm gonna give some criticism now. Here's my issues.
Okay. Let's hear it.
Here's my issues. And I feel a little bit scared coming into this because I'm like, I feel like this is a 5-star for you.
Yeah.
And I have a little bit of issues.
Okay.
I have some issues, but I also... There's so many things about this book that I love.
I had some issues, but I feel like there was so many things that I loved that I don't really care about my issues.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. My issue is it was very predictable. I knew very early on what was going to happen.
Well, not everyone's as smart as you.
Well, sometimes you're smarter than me. Okay. But even, like, the thing, like, the forbidden coordinates. Oh. Like, as soon as I heard about that, I was like...
Yeah. That, I feel like, yes.
That's a thing.
Yeah.
That's a white old man thing that you're telling
Yes.
everyone about and everyone believes. I see you.
Do think, yeah, when it was like the forbidden coordinates, I'm like, okay, got it.
We
But I
got that
just,
part.
even a lot of things being predictable, I still felt like the conversations and themes and so much around it.
And I have had other books where it's predictable.
Yeah.
So I guess my issue isn't generally predictability because I have read other books that are predictable and I just go with it.
Yeah. So,
It's like an add up, right? It's like does the other things make up for the predictability?
yes. And
One,
I didn't find everything predictable. Also, there was like,
not every single thing.
no, but yeah, major.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of one of the issues that like brought it, like I think the first 30% of this book, I was like, this is a 5 star.
I honestly have written somewhere, I think it was like the first 30%.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm giving this, I said, this book could go to shit right now, and I would still give it 5 stars.
Right.
Yeah.
The first 30% is so good.
So good.
Yeah.
Like, so well done. I do feel like it dragged a bit in the end.
Yeah.
100%. But I just, for what this book gives and how much it made me think and how much it made me like physically feel,
Mm-hmm.
I think just kind of takes over like just the little like things where I'm like, oh, this and this. And
Right. And I think that's with all books, right? It's like,
yeah.
there's so many books that I'm like, 5 stars. That I'm like, 5 stars. But I understand the criticism. So I guess that's my dilemma with this book is like, how much criticism makes it not 5 stars?
Yeah.
So, like, one of the other issues I have is I was thinking about this because there's so many fantastic themes that are explored in this book that I was like eating it up.
Yeah.
That are like in my realm of like, yes, this is like stuff that I
I
love
felt
to
like there was
talk
so
about.
much stuff for you.
This
It's
is
like,
great. And at the same time, I started skimming at some point.
Mm-hmm.
And so I guess my issue was like, if I'm going to learn or read about these themes in a fiction book, I need it to be entertaining. Because as we know with fantasy books have lots of themes of like
Yes.
racism, sexism,
Yeah.
all of the isms in society, etc.
Mm-hmm.
But it's entertaining. And so that's maybe where this book brought down its stars for me in terms of like from a 5 star moving down the list as the read went on was I was like, I don't know if I'm entertained anymore. I feel like I'm learning a lesson.
Yeah, I get that. I also think that it's almost a lot of the things covered were something almost in like your everyday for you, where it's absolutely like not for me. So I think that might make a time like a little bit of a different. Where I still did find it like entertaining because it was almost it was educating in a way, and it was making me look at myself a bit and like things and thought like just where these normally aren't things that are in my everyday realm that I'm thinking about, or yeah, like it kind of like really pushed those topics in a little more, and like being frustrated with her, and then you're kind of like looking at yourself.
Totally.
Yeah, I'm kind of going off a bit, but aspect. But I don't know. I was still entertained. I was sad, but entertained. I was sad the whole time, but I was entertained.
Okay, let's talk about it.
Okay.
Because I do think the beginning of this book was fantastic. When I started it, and we get Tommel's experience with the Quen and his trek across to Tyran, it was looking back on it. When you first read it, you're like, what are you talking about? But like looking back on it, you're like, that was a great intro.
Oh, it's so good.
It's great. Yeah.
Yeah, this could also totally be like a movie series.
Oh yeah.
How they like the blight takes them apart sounds absolutely disgusting. Also,
but you could visualize it so well, right? ML did a really good job in like you know exactly what she's talking about when she's describing it.
Do you know she lives in Wisconsin?
Does she?
Yeah.
Ah.
There's not like she doesn't really have a big social media presence.
No.
But she's Wisconsin.
Oh, hey ML.
Yeah. We're up a little bit. Can I read one that I have that I just kind of I just feel she did a good job of just like putting you really in that and like understanding kind of like the pain of it, I guess. But he tried not to recognize one scream as belonging to Murok, his last surviving friend from childhood and the last practitioner of their tribe's traditional woodwork. He tried not to see the light claim Rhea, who had breastfed him in his mother's absence, Taram, who had taught him to hunt after his father was gone, Landair, whose impeccable memory kept the tribe's oldest songs alive. Like, just that and like the opening, I was like, oh my god.
Oh, I love that you got that quote.
Isn't that so good?
Yeah.
Like, I just feel like that really just puts, I don't even like know how to word it, but like the importance of
these individual people that obviously throughout the book we get like people just dismissing their existence.
Mm-hmm.
And he's obviously speaking of them in terms of like, these are important people. These are important people and important knowledge that are disappearing.
Yeah. And I feel like a lot of things I'm just like, I don't even know how to like explain it or like word it, where I even, no matter the rating, I would just still say like read this book.
Well, yeah, it covers so many, which we're going to get to, right? Like, it covers so many great themes that mirror everything in our society that we deal with, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we have the big intro with Tommel. Am I saying his name right?
That's how I said it, so yeah.
Okay. Which was a really strong introduction, and then obviously we get another strong introduction, which was so great with Sciona, and she is going to be the first woman
high mage. Well, she's going in to be tested, but obviously we know
tested, but it's in like the what do you call it? Like the excerpt from the book. We know that that's going to happen. But it is really exciting, right? Like, as two women reading the book, we're like, oh my god, let's see the woman succeed. Right?
And again, I feel like she also just sets it up really well so that we understand the vibes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when she's about to go in, oh my god, I don't have his name. Bring him. Says, chin up now, child. They're going to want to see a little confidence. She says, all right. And then breathe. And in her mind, just not too much confidence, she thought, or the testers would think her arrogant. Half Tyrion probably thought it arrogant for a woman to attempt the exam at all. I just feel like that was kind of just saying a lot right away, that it was...
It's a hypervigilance of like, what do I show? Do I not show? I'm obviously a standout here. You know, one thing that her cousin Alba said, they say testing women is a waste of time. And Sciona says, right. Meaning the magistrate only trots out a female applicant every 10 years to prove truism, that women aren't worth the council's consideration. So you see the problem? If I fail, I'll be that proof. I'll have ruined magic for the next decade of female research mages.
Yeah.
It's a whole different experience that she has than her fellow applicants.
Yes.
It's not just a test.
Yeah. And I feel like just right away that set up for us. And then I think
we're also rooting for her, right?
Yeah. And then right away I'm like, oh, this is so like real.
Yeah.
Like
we're real... like, I've experienced that.
Yeah. Like,
I have.
Yeah. And I think even just the part that I kind of said, like the not too much confidence, like don't be too this.
Yeah. Don't take up too much space.
Yeah. If you want to be accepted. Have
humility and be, what is it? Like, I want to say adaptable, but that's not the right word. Like, kind of like, but that you are considerate to a healthy extent to others around you. It's like you're molding.
Yes. Yeah. And you also got to show that you're like strong enough to be there,
but also to do the job.
Yeah. And I was just like, I also just did like it was Women's Day.
Yeah.
And I photographed like an event where there was super strong women speakers. And so I think like as I was reading this, it was very like relevant to that. And like what they, like it was like 2 hours of what we were talking about. Like, I was just like, oh my God.
So you were immersed.
Really immersed in it.
Like, I went to a luncheon.
Yeah, and I was like very empowered. I was like, fuck men. They're the worst. Society sucks.
I think as to white women, the initial part of this book is like, yes,
Yeah.
let's go, Sciona.
Yeah.
And then obviously the book evolves very quickly into other issues, right?
Yeah, where then I'm like, oh, no.
Yeah, and you're like, oh, shut up, Sciona.
Yeah. Yeah, where I was just like, okay.
Yeah, and you go through an evolution in this book where it's like, I'm rooting for you, Sciona. I'm rooting for you.
Mm-hmm.
And then also, you're annoying.
Stop talking.
You're very judgmental and you're the worst.
Yep.
And now I'm rooting for you again.
Yeah.
I get it, Sciona. I have experienced that. No, I get it. And then you're like, die. Die, bitch. Die.
Okay, well, I never had that much of a thought.
Sorry.
That was a bit much.
That was more like the end scene or like the ending where I was like, yeah, you could die.
I loved the ending. I really... Okay, we'll get to that.
We'll get to that.
Yeah. I had my thing. I'm like, okay, I love the teacher man. Jamie,
shut up, Jamie.
Yeah, I was like, oh, no. And it just made me... Okay, I'm reading this one part, including or not, but like when she finds out she got it, he's like, no, my dear, don't do that. She said, what? Do what? Cry? Credit me or anyone else for your success. As it is, other people will try to credit me in order to tear you down. Be cold, be hard, and don't give them an inch, you understand, no matter what they say to you. And I was just like...
That's an important part, though.
Yeah.
Which I think, like, we'll talk more about that, but, like, women's plight, there's that, and that's important.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like someone can also be, like, racist and classist.
Yeah.
Right? It's like you can be supportive of like someone making it in the patriarchy male dominated systems, which he is, right?
Yes, where he's very much, and to him,
he's doing good.
Yeah, this is such a good thing that he's doing.
And in a small way, he is. He is doing good. But in a larger view, not so much.
No.
Not so much, right? I really like, even at the beginning, we get Sciona's issues. Because Sciona has some issues.
Yeah, she does.
Ma'am. There's some stuff there, and your cousin Elba lets you know.
Mm-hmm.
Like, one of the things is, her cousin says, you barely pay attention to the people right in front of you.
Yeah.
So I thought that was kind of neat, because I think when that came up, I was like, I'm not sure what that means. I'm not sure why it matters, I guess. But it keeps coming up over time, too. So it becomes, like, a bigger theme that I thought was, like, really important.
Yeah, and she becomes obviously more aware.
She does.
Eventually about... Yes. Well, not even that. Like, I feel like she's always was kind of aware, but it finally... her realizing that
she saw it in a different way later, right? So she knew already that she had this determination to become a high mage, right? So, like, but it's like, why did you want that?
Yes.
And so Elba kind of calls her out, and it's like, okay, you're not really breaking the ceiling for other women, right? That's not why you're doing it. Like, let's cut the shit. This is for you.
Yeah.
This is self-indulgence. So I think later we also see the relationship with her dad and how he plays into it, where she obviously feels abandoned and discarded, and she's trying to prove him wrong and prove other people wrong, and fulfilling this hole in her heart of being unlovable, or she's not worthy or not good enough, to the point that has taken her cousin for granted, her aunt for granted, and she doesn't show really much care and attention for other people.
Yeah.
Right? But that also makes the story really compelling when it takes a turn and we get that big realization later of how ignorant she is.
Yeah.
Right? It's like we need her to be so self-indulgent to understand, but also be able to relate.
Yeah, I think she is so relatable. I feel like she's just a very, like, a human example. Like, she's a very good human
Yes.
example. And even just with Tommel and how they can, like, relate on certain layers with, like,
Yeah,
the woman
where
part.
their experiences of oppression overlapped.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then also coming, then her, like, 2 seconds later saying something or doing something that's going against what she just said. And she's just a very frustrating character, but, like, so real at the same time.
Yeah, and that's the point, right? It's
Yeah.
like relatability, but also like ML trying to fit all in this one book. This character's evolution that most people take a very long time to come to.
Yeah.
She's trying to fit it all into this story. Um,
Which I think she set her up really well to be like,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I have a few ML quotes.
Like, actual.
Yeah.
Oh.
So I got a few ML quotes because I this book covers like ML is a racialized person. This book covers so many social issues that I was like, am I interpreting this as like a white cis woman? Am I interpreting this in the way that it's intended?
Mm-hmm.
I think so, but I was also very curious about ML's
So smart
intention.
of you.
And so I did get like a couple things from her.
Okay.
Okay, so this was an interview with Fantasy Hive. And she says, I don't consider Bright Haven a straightforwardly feminist narrative. At least that's not what I was aiming for. Instead, I tried to get into why the trailblazer, the exceptional woman who finds a way to thrive within a sexist hierarchy, is not necessarily equipped to tackle the injustices that hierarchy creates. At worst, she is complicit. Did she really carve out the trail for women, or was it just for herself?
Hmm. God, now I'm thinking more. I literally, like, lie awake in bed thinking about this book. Like, it just comes to my mind, and I'll just, like, start thinking about things about it.
It reminds me of the idea of breaking the glass ceiling,
Mm-hmm.
which we've heard as women, right? You're like, oh, I'm the first woman, but it's like what Sciona is doing is breaking the glass ceiling within a very specific structure
Yeah.
and system. So is she is not changing the structure and the system and how things come about. She is just existing within it.
Yeah. And it's being set up for her to also do it.
And so that is what ML is saying is she's complicit within it.
Yeah.
So it's like you exist within it, but it's like are you really changing anything or are you just existing within it?
Yeah.
So the second one I have from her is the figure I had in my mind when I wrote Sciona was hashtag girl boss feminist who sees her own pursuit of power as an inherent good. She uses her own experience of sexism to justify her ascent at the expense of others, including men and women more vulnerable than herself. She doesn't bother to think carefully about the ethics of her actions until the veil of righteousness tears and forces the revelation.
Ooh.
Like, what in art? Like, obviously, this is a different society within this book, but within our society, we call it white feminism,
Yeah.
right? Where it's the idea of like, I'm trying to further myself and maybe even my circle or the people
Mm-hmm.
that look like me or whatever. But it isn't a general all women.
Yes.
It's still a very individualistic way of seeing your ascent and seeing like progression.
Yeah.
Which is like a really I'm glad that I saw those quotes from ML because it really clarified where she was going with Sciona.
Yes.
And I think
I
it was like
really,
that okay, that is the vibe that I got. So I'm glad that I got the clarification.
yeah, I really love that quote from her to kind of explaining that.
And even a different quote that I did say, it almost felt like there wasn't a hatefulness towards Sciona
No.
at like the way that she was describing her. It was really just like I'm just trying to put out this. Like, I don't know.
I feel like it gets complicated. Like there's so many layers. Which I don't feel like she has like a hatefulness to her. Nothing she's doing is out of that.
It's almost like she's trying to show this experience of sexism, but she's like, yes, Sciona experiences sexism, and it's really horrible. And there's so many more layers and intricacies that we need to understand before we just hold up Sciona as a vision or a someone to look to. There's so many layers that we ignore.
Because like you see her like when her interactions with Tommel, like, and you're like, oh my god, like yes, like do it like women and her and them even. Oh my god, where was it? He says something about. It's when like he first becomes her assistant and he's talking about where his experience, and then she's saying, oh, like yeah, like the boys will be boys, and where they are kind of connecting on that. And then she does turn around 2 seconds later, and it's like she's saying in her mind how dumb Quinn are, pretty much. Or literally that. It's such like a hard pill to swallow when she does that.
But I think that is also just the progression, right? It's like she has these small moments where, and I remember that moment, where he said something like, yeah, well, the high mages will do whatever high mages will do. And then she's like, oh, that kind of reminds me of the boys will be boys. Mm-hmm. And so she has that moment, and then she goes back, right? But that is like 70% of the book, where she has realizations and then goes back and is like, no. Okay, yeah, I have a realization. Then no.
It was so frustrating. It was like a majority of the book, like that happening. Where it was like 2 steps forward, 1 step back type of thing with her.
It was hard to watch.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go with Tommel and Sciona's meeting, because I do feel like the start of their relationship was cute. No?
No, yeah, I was turning the paper.
There's like minor romance in this book. To the point that it's like...
it could have just been a friendship.
Yeah.
I really think it could have been. I thought there was going to be more to it. Yeah.
But also, at the same time, with all of the themes within this book, it was kind of like, I don't really want it.
Yeah. No, I could care less.
Oh, the other thing I was going to ask you, so Sciona had this experience where, like the boys club. Mm-hmm. So when she first started, and Jared... he, the guys are like, let's go to drink to celebrate. And they're like...
it was so cute when he's like, I'll take you for a drink.
And then, oh my god.
That part was so cute.
Adorable.
Yeah, and it was like, good for you.
And I was like, Tom will fuck her. But he's also a very kind man.
He is.
And took her out.
Yeah.
That was so adorable. Okay, but my question for you was, like, have you ever had this? You're a weird one, because you have been like an entrepreneur, so like you haven't. But have you ever felt like that within a workplace?
Or like something
where you're the Sciona, where everyone's like, yeah, let's go get a drink, and you're like in your office or like in your cubicle or whatever you are, and you're like, no, I'll just go home. It's fine.
Nobody wants to invite me. No.
No, I have stuff to do. No. It's totally cool.
No, not this. I feel like I experience things that are similar to that, but not like that specific. Because
what's that mean?
I think I do. Like, I have experiences with men with my job where they don't take.
But not like everyone's like, we're going for a drink and like, fuck Jamie.
Yeah. I mean, like, I don't really have coworkers, right?
But you haven't, like, a long time ago, right?
Yeah, when I was like young. So it was like all of us were like the same age, so we'd all just go out and.
Okay, so you weren't excluded.
I mean, in life that's happened to me, but not like in a job.
Okay, tell us all the awful things that men have done. What about toxic workplaces?
Oh. God, I don't feel like I've had like a serious job.
Jamie.
I know I'm not a really good candidate for this because I work by myself.
Entrepreneur. Okay.
Alone in her basement.
I have worked in a
You-
male-dominated
yes.
environment. And it sucks.
I've gone into those situations for like a day and I don't like it.
Yeah. As a woman and in a job position that was feminized, that other people thought is less value, that is not less valued, that actually took a lot of effort and education.
Yeah.
You know, it's just, and there's nothing you can do to make people think that you have value or that you matter or what you have to say. Like,
it doesn't matter.
Totally. No, I have like 1,000,001 stories about that kind of stuff. So, like, listening to Sciona in the first part of the book and her experience in academia and with men, I'm like, yeah, no, I get it, and it's like hard to read, but it's also like a nice read. It's you know, it can feel validating to read that kind of stuff and be like, yeah, okay,
yeah,
like this author understands this part. But obviously we take a turn.
Oh, I do have some things.
Okay.
Because when I did start out, really there was only one other bigger female photographer in town, and all the other ones were older male photographers.
Oh yeah.
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 Who were not very welcoming.
They're not like, let's collaborate, or I'll refer to you, or
no, absolutely not. They
like, get out of here.
And
fun stuff.
Right? Not helpful.
Okay. One of the things that I wrote too much about in my notes was the first fight that they had.
Oh my god.
But it really was, there was a few fights, right? But I was like, I can't write down all of them. There's too much. So I was like, I'm just going to focus in on my favorite.
The stairwell one?
No.
Okay.
It was the one that started out about the ruins. So he's like, okay, these ruins that you use, they also look very much like this tribe that I know about.
Yeah.
He's like, my tribe was verbal. This tribe had stuff written down and had ruins, and this looks very familiar, and the more that I look at it, this looks like theirs, right?
Yes.
And then with the ruins, that evolves into a conversation about Leon, which is sort of the discoverer that created Tyran and created high mages and this dome and like.
You're saying Tyran? I was saying Tyran.
Tyran? Oh, maybe Tyran is right. Tyran?
Tyran sounds nicer.
It does. Okay. But they kind of make the connection that this tribe was also what Leon was talking about. So basically we come to this idea of stolen knowledge, as Tom calls it. Okay, that's not just you're just learning from them and like, oh, Leon had this experience there in the mountains.
Yeah,
it's like,
I think
okay,
this is my whole, I just have like page this, because I was just like, it was just so much.
You just actually took that information and kept it for yourself. And so Tom was like, And then Sciona, and this is, just from here forward, this is my, these are my words in my head. Sciona is like, how dare you call this old man, I don't know, a liar. And then she says, he was helping them, preserving the knowledge, because they are dum-dums who are struck down by God because they're bad people. And he's like, oh, this was before the blight though, so how do you explain that? And she's like, blah, 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 God said so. And he's like, I don't believe in your God.
Oh, okay. Yes, that was my favorite part, because I was just, at the same time, I was like, I get it. Like, it's just when people try and fight, like, you're like, this is what I've believed my entire life.
Yeah.
And now you're telling me it's not right?
Yeah.
I could absolutely get why she was fighting it so hard.
Yeah.
But when I'm like, just these facts are being like, yeah, and you're like, no, I'm gonna, in my mind,
Blah, blah, blah.
yeah, and I was just like, oh, no, no, no.
They get into this big thing. So this is like, I know I have like I have a whole highlight quotes about this conversation because it's a big back and forth story that he tells,
Yes.
which I loved this part, which
This, I
was
think, was
about
actually, yeah, it was my favorite part of the book.
morality
Mm-hmm. Okay, I
and
feel like I
really
have that.
questioning it. Do we want to say it?
Okay, wait, let me see it. It might be like, I think I have like a similar.
Okay, so Tommel, if you must know, your God weighs souls differently from mine. Or, in other terms, your people and mine have different senses of right and wrong. Let's say there are two men who live in a city like this one, and to make the story relevant to you, let's make them high mages, alright? The first man lives his whole life with good intentions. Every decision made because he believes it aligns with his values. Yet, let's say he pressures his wife into bearing children, but it only makes her miserable. Maybe he fast tracks a building project because he is eager to see it completed. The building collapses, the several of his workers die, leaving their families behind in poverty. He lends money to a friend only for the friend to invest in a scam that ruins him. This pattern holds throughout the man's life, the majority of his well intentioned decisions and in disasters for him.
And the second man?
The second man has no good intentions. Every decision he makes out of self interest, spite, intent to harm, or whatever motivations his culture might deem unsavory. Yet, let's say an employee he demotes ends up thriving in her new position and forming great friendships there. Maybe this cruelty prompts his wife to leave him and move on to a happier life with someone else. When he sabotages a rival's project, that money is then allocated to a better cause that improves many lives. The majority of his actions end up changing his community for the better.
All right.
When these two souls are weighed before the gates of heaven, who gets in? Who is the good man?
The first one, obviously.
Even though his effect on the world was negative, many lives were worse because of his actions.
But he meant well.
Why does it matter?
Because, well, obviously it matters.
Why?
It just does.
Right, ma'am. For you, it just does. This is the difference in our morality. The Chaldean and most peoples beyond the barrier weigh a person by their actions and the effect they have on the world. It's not enough to have meant to do good. If you don't do good, most gods, those of the rivers, the sky, the fields, don't care for your motivations. Why should they?
They should care because a man who means to do good can improve. He can do better next time.
We call that vakul. And there are certain gods who care for it, just not most of them.
You call what Bakul?
The absence of goodness that still holds the potential for goodness. You don't have a word for it in Tiranish. Well, no. Actually, you do have a word in the literal sense. Riverbed. Or maybe ravine. Bakul is also a common Quen word for valley or depression where a river might flow. There is no river there now, but there might have been once, and there might be one day. All living creatures have in them some good, some bad, and a lot of vakul. But vakul can't be all you are to expect the love of your gods and fellow mortals. A ravine won't water crops or quench the dying. At some point, there has to be a river, or what good can you really claim if the man of good intentions never manifests a river? Only calamity. Should he not be damned to hell?
It doesn't seem fair.
But it's only fair to the world he leaves behind. This is the balance of the universe. It is only right for the world to bring back upon him what he brought upon the world. This is why I can't worship your God or agree with the way he... measures virtue. He allows us gray space for delusion. You take a void and name it goodness. And is it so? If you can lie to yourself that you're a good person despite all evidence, then suddenly it is so? Then within the system, anyone with enough self delusion can admit himself to heaven. This is nonsense.
It's not nonsense, and it's not about lying, it's about intentions.
I think it's about convenience. Like most mages' endeavors, it's much easier to tell yourself you're a good person than it is to actually be one.
Okay, I did also have that, and I think especially like just the ending of that and reading that, I was just like, fuck.
I liked it because I do feel like a lot of the concepts in these books, I'm like, okay, I know this. That one, the way that he framed it, felt very new to me, or felt very different for me.
Yeah, I read it
In
a
the
couple
way
times.
that Tomal explained it, that I was like, oh, that's a really cool perspective.
Especially just with the comparisons of the two men.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and then just I feel like following up with the ending. But I remember, yes, like reading that part a few times. And I think that's, you posted on Goodreads at that point. And then, because you said the chapter. And I was just like, oh shit, what's going to happen in this chapter?
Waiting for it.
And then, yeah, just reading it, I was like, oh my God. And then that whole part I did read, yeah, a few times where I was just like, it's a completely different, just, yeah, way to kind of think about things.
Morality.
Right? Like it was. Like,
are you a good person?
Right, yeah, that's what I was thinking. And just like religion and, oh my God. And I have the group how it just, yeah, is it not enough to have meant to do good if you don't do good?
Mm-hmm. But your intention is good.
Yes. And I was just
Yeah.
like, oh my God.
And I've thought of that on a smaller scale of the idea of intention versus hurt.
Yeah.
Right? But not on the scale that he is talking about. And so, like, the idea is if you step on someone's foot, but you didn't know you did it, if the intention was to not step on that person's foot, does it matter? Well, of course it matters. You hurt them.
Yeah.
You hurt their toe or their foot or whatever, right? And so, such an easy concept, but it's like, it still matters.
Yeah.
And so, I guess that's like what he's getting at, but he's just putting in a framework that feels like you're able to apply it to a larger ideas, which I guess I hadn't with the toe example before.
Yeah. Even I remember, I guess it's kind of Kristen Bell. It was like 2 years ago. I can't remember where I heard her say it, but just talking about like choices and decisions, and she's always just like, I just, big or small, kind of like, is this going to hurt anyone? Will this decision hurt anyone or cause anyone, like that? Because there is like choices that you do make where it could, I don't know, but I just remember like hearing that, and I've kind of always kept that like in my mind because I feel like I have made choices in the past, like, and you're not proud of them, but where you've done things like big or small where it could have ended up hurting someone or things like that. And I just, ever since I've heard her kind of say that, I've always kept that, and that kind of, reading that whole part reminded me kind of that again.
Right. But then we kind of get into the realm of like, am I people pleasing? Or like, I'm always trying to dip and dodge my decisions and my feelings to accommodate others, which is.
Oh, that's not how I personally
saw that example.
No.
Okay. Just double checking for people. Don't do that.
No, don't do that. No, it was like barely. I just made stupid decisions, and I was just like,
Hello.
Hello. No, I can't do that. Hello.
So we talked way too long on Blood over Braidhaven, so we are going to split up our chat into 2 parts. So we're going to pause ourselves where we have paused ourselves in our rantings and ravings.
So much to talk about.
There is so much to talk about.
It was a lot.
So two parts for you.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. You're welcome. It's incredibly helpful to give us 5 stars, to follow us on the apps that you're listening on, to follow us on social media, so Instagram and TikTok, and comment. It's
Come say hey.
helpful. Come say hello. Yeah. We love you there. We are present, and we are hanging out too much. Don't judge us.
Please come hang out with us.
Please be our friend. But yeah, we'll see ya. Bye.
Bye-bye.